All right, so now we're going to move on to the last part of the review video, and I'm just going to go through section 5, 6, and 7 here. All right, so for this section 5, it's just going to be substituting and evaluating. All right, so for this one here, we just need to plug in what everything is equal to. So we said that b is equal to 3, so we will then just substitute 3 in for b. So then we will rewrite it as 3 plus. C is equal to negative 5, so I'm going to write my negative 5 in parentheses over top of 4 times a, which is negative 2. Remember, the parentheses here is just meaning multiplication. Same thing here. We can just multiply this positive 1 with, we can act like it's a positive 1 with this negative 5. And then we will rewrite it as 2 times 3 minus 5 over top of 4 times negative 2. All right, now we will just go ahead and actually subtract. So this 3 minus negative 5 is equal to negative 2. So now we get 2 times negative 2. On the bottom here, 4 times negative 2 is equal to negative 8. So it will be 2 times negative 2 over top of negative 8. All right, then we will go ahead. 2 times negative 2, this is equal to negative 4. So it's negative 4 over negative 8. And remember, you cannot leave your fraction unsimplified. Math, you always have to simplify. So this will then reduce to a positive 1/2. All right, let's go over to the next problem. All right, same thing. First thing we're going to do is substitute. So then this will then give us 6 times b, so 6 times 3, minus a, so minus negative 2, minus c, so minus negative 5. All right, then from here, a negative and a negative, these are going to turn to a positive. So then we will rewrite it as the square root of 6 times 3 plus 2 plus 5. And 6 times 3 we know is going to give us 18. And we do multiplication first before we do any addition or subtraction. So it's equal to 18 plus 2 plus 5. Well, we know that 18 plus 2 is going to give me 20. And 20 plus 5 is going to give me 25. So now we have the square root of 25. And remember, the square root, it's saying which number times itself twice will give us 25. So our final answer is equal to 5. You do not write the square root of 5. This is incorrect. Because once you take the square root, that is an operation essentially. And once you take the square root, not essentially, it is an operation. And once you take the square root, it's gone. We used it. We finished. We would never do 5 times 2 is equal to 10 times 2. Once we perform the operation of multiplication, that's it. We end. So when we take the square root of 25, it's no longer, the square root is no longer there anymore. So it is just 5. All right, so for question number 3, we're now given different letters, P, Q, and R. And it's the same thing, though. We're just substituting this off. So I'm going to substitute negative 2 in for Q, so it's 4 times negative 2. I will substitute 1 in for P, so it's minus 1, over top of R, which is negative 3. All right, then from here, we can start multiplying. 4 times negative 2 is equal to negative 8, so this is then equal to negative 8 minus 1 over top of negative 3. Well, negative 8 minus 1, whenever they're the same sign, you can just add them, and then whatever sign you have is the sign you use. So 8 plus 1 is equal to 9, so it's negative 9. So negative 9 over negative 3, well, negative 9 divided by negative 3 is going to be equal to a positive 3. All right, let's move on to question 4. All right, so for this question, when they're written next to each other like this, that means they're all being multiplied together. All right, so we're going to substitute in, and I'm going to put everything in parentheses to remind myself not only about the negatives, but that they're being multiplied. So everything is going to be written in parentheses, whether it's positive number or negative in this case. All right, and then in this case, we are squaring the negative 2. And remember, when we square a number, for instance, 4 squared is equal to 4 times 4. So when it's negative 2 squared, that is equal to negative 2 times negative 2. And negative 2 times negative 2 is equal to a positive 4. So now we're left with 1 times 4 times negative 3. So then we will do negative 3 times 4, which is then equal to negative 12. And 1 times negative 12 is just simply negative 12. All right, that is it for this section. Let's move on to section 6. All right, we're moving on to section 6. And in this case, you're just asked to simplify as much as possible. So we're going to essentially look to see if anything needs to be multiplied, look for like terms, etc. All right, so for this one, there's nothing that needs to be multiplied. They're just being added or subtracted. So we need to look and see, do we have any like terms? Well, this x squared, this x has a square and this x does not. So we know that they're not like terms. However, this is a constant and so is this. So we do have two like terms. We have 10 and minus 3. And then we can do 10 minus 3 is equal to 7. So I know I can combine those two into 7. So then that is our final answer because they're the only two things that could be added. So it's negative x squared plus 6x plus 7. All right, we will go through this later on in the year as to why I wrote it how I did. But usually we start with our highest power. So here's our highest power. And we go in descending order. So it's x squared, x to the first, and then no x. All right. For now, all I want to make sure to see is that you guys are putting your constant at the very end. All right. Let's move on to the next question. All right. Remember, we are simplifying as much as possible. So in this case, we need to make sure that we are squaring this and we are multiplying these two. So the first thing we'll do is the square. So when this is in parentheses, that means that our 4 is being squared and so is our m squared. And 4 squared is equal to 4 times 4 or 16. So this can be rewritten as 16m squared. And then we can also multiply these. And remember, when we're multiplying, it doesn't matter if they're like terms or not, even though they are in this case, but it does not matter. We simply multiply the numbers and the signs first. So negative 2 times 3 is equal to negative 6. And then we multiply our variable. And when we multiply our variable, like I said in our video before, we're adding our powers when they are the exact same base. So our powers are 1, so then it's equal to m to the 1 plus 1 power, or m squared, because we're multiplying and we have 2 of them. So then it's equal to m squared. And now we need to look and see, are they like terms? Well, yes, this is m squared, and so is this one here. So then we can go ahead and we can do 16 minus 6. You do not have to write it in parentheses like this on your test. I'm just showing you what exactly we're doing. 16 minus 6, and that will give us the final answer of 10m squared. All right, so same thing, we need to simplify as much as we can. So you see here, we have these minus signs. So that means this is one term, this is one term, and this is a separate term. So we need to simplify each of these terms first before we can do anything. And they're all being multiplied. So we will multiply to 2 times 3, that gives me 6. The x times y, we just simply write in alphabetical order. Here we have negative 5 and 1, so it's minus 5. X times x is going to be x squared. Here we have just a negative 4, so it's minus 4. And then the y times x, we write in alphabetical order, xy. Then we need to look and see, do we have any like terms? Well, this has an x squared and no y, so we know that this one isn't like with anything. However, this has xy and so does this. So that means they are like terms. So we can rewrite this then as 6 minus 4 xy minus 5x squared. And then 6 minus 4 we know is going to be 2xy and then minus 5x squared. All right, and that is your final answer. Let's move on to the last question of this section.